Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this week's astrology forecast. So, we're going to be taking a look today at the week beginning April 19, to April 25, 2026. And this week, it's all about channeling all of that energy into strong focus, determination, and practicing that art of non reaction. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the story of the week. So it's getting hot in here. It's all starting to heat up. And this week, we can feel the energy building. We might feel that nervous tension in the air. There's going to be some challenging aspects to this week. And we may feel a little bit frustrated, tense. There might be some difficult conversations that take place. And we feel like we're not getting anywhere very quickly. The word of the week that keeps springing to mind is frustration. It may feel like we're stuck in a traffic jam on a hot day and not getting anywhere very quickly. So, key transits of the week are today, as I'm recording this, we have Mars conjunct Saturn, April 19th, and this is a big one. Then tomorrow we have the Sun entering Taurus, which will hopefully bring us a little bit of light relief. And we also have Mercury conjuncting Saturn, and Mercury conjuncting Mars not far after that. Then on April the 24th, we have Venus conjunct Uranus, and then Venus enters Gemini just ahead of Uranus making that transit as well on April 24th also. And the week starts off with the moon in Taurus, going through Gemini, Cancer, and finishing off in Leo. So let's take a look at the first transit then, which is Mars conjunct Saturn, which is happening today, really. So this is the two malefics that are conjoining in Aries. So I'd like to think about this as compulsion meeting restriction, which can often bring frustration, anger, tension. But it can also help us to focus on getting something hard or difficult done through that sheer will, determination, and focus. So it's a really good day if you've got a task in mind that you've been putting off, that needs a bit of those attributes. Might be a really good day to start that, and it's a really good way to channel the energy. So yeah, good way to focus anything that we've got in the background that we need to get started with, and maybe something that's been playing on our mind for a while, a little bit of a long-term strategy to channel this energy. So then the Sun enters Taurus. The Sun entering Taurus brings a little bit of stability and grounding energy, and it may also attract a little bit of relief after yesterday's difficult energy. Although we're still going to be left with some of the remnants from yesterday because that energy is still in play at the moment. But hopefully this energy with the Sun going into Taurus will help to make that less heavy, less to take some of the power out of it. So this is all about being stable, grounding energy. It invites us just to take a minute before we react to anything, and it also invites us just to ground our energy where possible. You know, get outside, get into nature, feel the air on your face, feel the wind on your face, feel your feet on the ground. Anything like that really helps to stabilize us and to ground us right now. And then a bit later on, we have Mercury conjoining Saturn, and then Mercury moves on to conjoin Mars. So Mercury's joining the party from the Mars-Saturn conjunction yesterday. And this can bring frustration around communication, talking, conversations, traveling, that kind of thing, as Mercury rules all of those. The energy and the communication may be heightened by that sharp Mars energy, and it can bring a sharp tongue to conversations. But in the positive, this can also aid with difficult, tense conversations because it can give you that sustained focus. On the shadow side, the communication can break down people can become quick to anger or easily become frustrated. So really the next transit then to talk about is the one with Venus conjuncting Uranus in Taurus on the 24th of April. So Venus will meet up with Uranus just as Uranus is getting ready to leave Taurus and enter Gemini. So this is a massive transit. Uranus has been in Taurus for the last 8 years or so. And Venus is on her way just to pop alongside next to Uranus and escort it out of Taurus into Gemini. So Venus is in her element in Taurus, and combining her energy with Uranus, this is all about love and sensuality meet electricity and sudden change. Be careful about acting too quickly in this transit, as it won't last for long. And it's at that last degree of Taurus, which can also be a little bit unstable. So think about that electric first love, and how that can sort of play out, and it can be very heightened, very intense, but can be very sort of short bursts. So anything that you do under this transit is really good for getting a relationship, a long-term relationship, getting that spark back again. But anything new in this energy is not likely to be sustainable or to last. Okay, so then we have Venus entering Gemini not long after that. So whilst Venus is not at home in Gemini as she was in Taurus, it can lighten the energy a little bit. In Gemini, she's very airy and mentally flirtatious. Think about stimulating conversation, light-hearted conversations, a light-hearted feel generally to communication. And it's a really good time to be social and to have interesting conversations, to get out there amongst it and meet up with lots of different people, have lots of interactions. That's where you'll get the most benefit from this. Okay, so the weekly themes then are frustration, restriction, feeling the Saturn tendencies, quick to anger, that Mars energy, and feeling like you're not getting anywhere very fast, hitting roadblocks, lots of frustration. However, if you channel this energy, you can channel it with determination and grit and focus and sustainability. So how best to work with this week? Movement with focus. Things like Tai Chi, martial arts, really good. You're moving the body, moving the energy, and you're using that focus, that concentration at the same time. Dance, focusing on a choreography. Connect with your body and move the energy. If you've got something difficult that requires focus and determination, it's a really good time to put that into action, or to start something new that's going to take time to build. If you're thinking about joining the gym or starting a new health and exercise routine, a really good time. You're not going to see instant results, but with a bit of long-term strategic planning and sustainability, grit, determination, really well aspected under this astrology. And some weekly affirmations as the week gets going. I honour what feels steady and true. This too will pass. I am enough. I take a breath before I react. I am focused and determined, and I can. So, in summary, this week can feel tense, frustrating, but this too will pass. And once we get through this week, the energy will start to dissipate. This is a week of grit and determination. If frustration starts to build or become overwhelming, start moving your body, get out into nature, take a breath, do some grounding, start to move the energy and try and focus this energy instead of trying to resist it. Just let it move through you. This energy is very powerful. Any kind of resistance is only going to frustrate you even more. So with all that being said, I wish you all a very focused, determined and productive week. And I will see you all again next week. Much love, Maria.